Hi everyone, my name is Jenny Grant and my demonstration speech is all about one of my very favorite things, and that's flowers. We are going to go ahead and put together a flower arrangement, just very casual, but it can be used for any type of event. What I love to do is I love to change it up, and I sometimes put fruit in the bottom. It could be apples, it could be oranges, whatever may correspond to the theme that you have for your event or whatever is fun. So today these are actually going to just be for me, so I decided I wanted to try some lemons. I chose this vase because this vase is actually angled a bit, and it's a little bit bigger in the bottom than it is at the top. So this gives me the opportunity to go ahead and put these lemons in here, and it doesn't really matter how they are with apples, and even with something a little bit lighter, depending upon how big the bottom of your vase is. You want to make sure that they don't float up. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put water in here and fill it, not quite all the way. And see, a couple of these lemons are starting to float, but that's okay because we're not filling it to the top, so it's not going to interrupt what we're doing with the flowers. So today what I did is I chose these little garden roses. I love those. But if truth be told, my very favorite flower are these white daisies. I love them. And then I have some yellow daisies here. And then I also have just a little bit of the pink Alsteria. And then also, for some color, some added color, some purple lattice. And so we are going to start then with, I'm going to move these over so that you can see this. Going to start actually with the yellow daisies. Okay? So you want to start with some of your tallest flowers. And what I did actually is I went ahead and pre-cut these. And I usually cut them about the same length just to start, so I can see what this is going to look like and see how it's going to be shaped. And then I will cut as I go. So for the daisies, I'm going to start in the center here, and I'm going to put a few more in, just so it kind of stays. You get a little bit of yellow. And usually what I do is I start going horizontally here, okay? So that when you look at the arrangement, it's going to be even all the way around. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in some of these roses because they're a little bit heavier. Now with these roses, I do want them about the same height as the daisies, although when you have fruit in the bottom of your vase, you're going to have to allow a little bit for that space down there, okay? So what I did is I actually cut these roses just a little bit shorter than the yellow daisies, okay? And that's because they're going to hit the bottom of these lemons. Now the lemons down here are also going to help us brace the rest of the arrangement, okay? So we're going to start here with roses. Now, with roses, one of the things, it doesn't look like I'm going to have to do that with these, but one of the things that you'll want to do with roses is you'll want to pull some of these outside petals off, and that will give it the fresh look, okay? The other thing with roses is a lot of times these don't have too many thorns, but when you have the long stem roses and they have thorns and things like that, they'll have little knobs, and carnations do this too. They have little knobs in between down the stem, and when you're cutting, you really want to cut right at the base of one of those stem or one of those bumps, and the reason being is it just sucks in more water. So I'm just going to start placing some of these around, and it's just really random. I mean, there's no science to this at all. You just really do what you think looks good. You want to put some in between. And don't forget, you're going to have some other flowers. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to leave a couple of these roses out. I'm not going to put them all in yet. Besides, I really want to do a smaller one here that I'm going to take these same ones and put a little combination, because I love to have flowers on my desk at work. And usually what I do is rescue flowers, and what I mean by that is I go to the store. Our grocery stores out here in Denver, a lot of times when flowers hit a certain date, so to speak, that is a freshness, date of freshness, they'll usually mark them down. And so I usually go and get some of those. They're just as fresh and they last quite a while. What I'm doing with these white daisies is I'm actually going to cut about a ½ inch off, because it looks like they're pretty high. And what I'm going to do is the same thing that we did with the roses. Now what I'm running into here are these lemons. And so one of the things that we're going to want to do is we'll want to start to put a little bit more water in here, okay? And what that does is it helps give me more room in the vase. So remember that we don't put all the water in at the beginning because the fruit floats, but we're going to add a little as we go. And then the other thing that you're going to want to do with your flowers is you'll want to take off some of these greens, okay? Because they just get to be too much and it fills up your space around here. And so it becomes a little bit more difficult to fit all of the flowers that you want in your arrangement, okay? So we're going to turn this around. We're going to keep putting some white daisies in here. I just love white daisies. I know that people sometimes think that, you know, gosh, they're just so practical, and, you know, what's so special about white daisies, but they're just so happy. I just love them. So as you start to move around here, you'll just want to make sure that all of the different flowers are represented. Now we are going to add just a little bit of this Alsteria. And we already have quite a bit of pink because these yellow, or these garden roses, they're so fun because they're small and there's so many of them on a stem, and so they're great. They just spread out quite a bit and they just make your arrangement look gorgeous. Now we do need some height here, okay? So what I'm going to do, Alsteria is perfect for that. A lot of times what I would normally have done possibly is purchase some greens. I didn't really want greens in this because I wanted it more full of just flowers, but greens are just, they just add a wonderful touch. Now with greens, you do want to add those first, okay? That again just balances your arrangement. Okay, so we've got that pink. Now the lattice, what I did, lattice, this particular lattice is purple. We're just going to put it sparingly around, okay? And it just gives it that wonderful touch. So it gives it some depth, and that's really what you want. You want just a little bit of depth with it. So I'm going to put some in the front here. And your choice of flowers, you know, I definitely would pick ones that you like. Maybe if you're having a special event, pick ones that coincide with whatever theme that you are experiencing in your party. You know, whether it's a baby shower or maybe it's just a gift for someone, or you're having a summer dinner party. What's kind of fun is around Christmas time, is to be able to use red apples in the bottom. I have a very large vase that has a bottom that is just very round, and I put apples in there with some red roses that come out. So with this, I can tell that I need just a hair of some pink down here in front. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of this Alsteria, and I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter and put it here, okay? So if you are going to have a table maybe with some food on it, pick a side of your arrangement that maybe is the front, okay? And go from there. So we've got our Alsteria in there. So right now, we've pretty much covered all of the colors. We have some height here. We have some depth with the different colors. We have some great texture because you've got the petals of both the yellow daisies and the white daisies, and then of course Statice is a little bit more, I don't even know what you would call this texture, but it's not quite as soft. It's a little bit more like tissue paper. And then of course your roses. So with these arrangements, you can go ahead and leave it without any bow or anything around it because you've got these wonderful lemons at the bottom or any type of fruit. A lot of times you can use cherries as well. Cherries float, so you have to really make sure that you're sticking hardly any water in the bottom, maybe putting just a tad in there, and then, or you make sure that you have a lot of cherries or even cranberries in the bottom. So you just kind of have to see what fruit works for you. It's kind of fun to do that. You can also put different things in there. I've put Christmas bulbs, and sometimes Christmas bulbs float as well when water gets in there, so you want to really have either a lot of small ones that are packed in there, or again, choose not to put quite as much water in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to actually just put this over here. And what I thought I would do is put together a small arrangement for me, for my office. Because like I said, when things are going on at work and things are crazy and challenging, it's always fun to have some flowers to perk you up. So obviously these were cut for the other arrangement, so we're going to go ahead and cut these down. And I'm going to use, not quite all of these, well, maybe I will. But I'm going to start with these roses here. And the reason why I'm doing that is because there isn't as much room in this smaller glass, okay? And what I did, this is just a mason jar with a handle. And it's so fun. You can use so many exciting things for vases. Be creative. It's kind of fun to do that. Okay, so I've got my roses, and of course my daisies. I really need my white daisies. And I only have one stem, but this is perfect because there's so many of them on here. And again, when you're using a smaller vase or a smaller container, you really have to pull off some of these leaves, okay? Because they get in the way. Sometimes they actually add a little bit more. And what I'm going to do is I'm changing my mind here on the fly, because I've decided to put the daisies in first, and the reason why I've done that is because these roses now are going to have to go around it, since I only have one stem, and we're also going to cut them down just a little bit. And with a smaller vase, I usually try and keep it all about the same length. So you've got your roses. And just your love of flowers will help you create just the cutest arrangements. So don't think too much about it. I just really wing it half the time. So, except flowers, like I said, are just so happy. And so having some type of fresh flowers, I don't even know how I got addicted to it, but I just love fresh flowers. So here again, I'm going to want to cut accordingly and just spread them out. Let's see how that looks. Okay. Probably need a couple more. And most of the time I measure against the other flowers, just kind of so like that, and then make my cut so that then I know that they're not all completely different lengths. Although sometimes different lengths are really fun. So there's what's great about flowers is that you really cannot go wrong. I mean, there's no, it's unlike a recipe in that, you know, there's no wrong in this. So we're almost done. Just going to add a little bit here, the purple. And it's neat too because if you keep the water fresh, you know, I don't use any of those packets that come with the flowers, but if you keep your water fresh, even change it out sometimes when it's looking a little murky, your flowers actually will last a really long time. Okay. So here, I think we're done here. We have some flowers left over. Maybe I can make another little one. But this just gives you an idea of all that you can do with just a small batch of flowers. Look, I made two arrangements that will last quite a while, and they're perfect for any occasion. And what's fun about it is you can pick the seasonal flowers. You can pick flowers that maybe are marked down. I love to do that, like I mentioned. And then pick any fruit and just experiment. But I hope that you have just had fun with me in putting these two flower arrangements together. For me, this is exactly what I love. This just makes my day when I see flowers, and so I hope that you in turn have gained a little bit of insight and will be excited about purchasing some fresh flowers, either for yourself or maybe you know, for someone that you love. Have a great day.